going, guys? So today we're going to continue going through the Molten Man Build-A-Figure wave, and we have here the Doppelganger Spider-Man. And if you're familiar with the 6-arm Spidey that was released a few months back, then this is pretty much the same body mold. They just swapped out a few different pieces in terms of the hands and feet, obviously. And I'll do a side-by-side comparison in a little bit. But this is a figure that will probably be best for hardcore Spider-Man fans or those who read the comics and appreciate it. It suffers from the same problem that the 6-arm Spidey has, which is no ab crunch, no waist swivel, so there's not a whole lot of posability that you can do. Yeah, you can move the arms around in different directions. They're double jointed arms. You can move the hands around and things like that. You have thigh swivel. You do have double jointed knees, so you can get his foot back that far. You know, ankle pivot, the head. You can get looking up that far. You can get him looking down that much. And like I said, each arm features double jointed elbows, so you can get him in all different types of poses. We still do have the issue of the red peg showing through. You know, it's red on this side and then it's red on this side as well instead of being blue to kind of blend in, so that stands out. So when I pose them, I'll probably have them so that those inside pegs are not showing. For me, his head is one of the highlights of the figure. I like what they did with the eyes. It may not come across too well on camera here, but they have some kind of texturing in there. And then obviously you can see his teeth. So that looks really good. The lines in the suit are molded, but they're not filled in with any paint detail, just like the 6-arm Spidey that we got. His mouth is interesting because there's a line right there, which made it at first appear that it was hinged, but it's actually not. So you can't get him to open and close his mouth at all. It's just stuck like that. Okay, so here we have Doppelganger next to the 6-arm Spidey. And the 6-arm Spidey, I'm pretty sure, was based on the cartoon. That's why we get a brighter, more vivid red and blues in this figure. The Doppelganger is based on the comic version, so that's what I'm assuming the difference in coloring is, because this one has more of an animated series type color scheme. And regardless of all the complaints, I'm happy to have the 6-arm Spidey in my collection just because it's funny to me. The Doppelganger, I wasn't familiar with the character, but after researching it, I'm gonna go back and read some of the comics that he was in. He's basically a mindless beast, so he teamed up with Carnage, I think, at some point. So it sounds like there's some interesting stories to be had. He shoots webs that are razor edge. So I think this is one of those figures that I like because it encourages me to go back and find out more information about the character, and then in doing so I come across some pretty cool storylines along the way. So let's go ahead and talk about my final thoughts on this figure. Okay, so with Doppelganger, I mean, what you see is kind of what you get. If you're familiar with the 6-arm Spidey body mold, then you know what you're getting here. So not a whole lot of articulation. Obviously, they had to make some concessions to be able to fit that third row and just, these extra arms in there. They weren't able to do as much with the body. Well, I guess that's debatable whether or not they could have, but the point is that they didn't. So that's pretty much what you get. You'll have arm movement. You'll be able to move the head, the legs, the feet, double jointed knees. You have all that movement. You just don't have any movement in the torso. So that's the only thing to really be aware of. The back of the figure, you do get the spider logo. Another thing I think they missed out on here was not giving us the paint in the web lines on his suit, because they should be black. And that's the same issue that they had with the 6-arm Spidey. They didn't fill in the black lines, which would have made that figure look a lot better. I've seen some customizers go and do it. I may do it at some point, but I think that if they would have done that, then that would have made this figure look a whole lot better. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about this figure in the comments. Do you love it? Do you hate it? As always, thank you for your support, and I'll see you on the next video.